Welcome back, everyone, to In the Rearview Mirror, a supernatural retrospective. We are your Hunter hosts. I'm Graham.
I'm Sierra.
We're going to talk about these next few episodes of Supernatural, and we're going to discuss all, how many episodes, Sierra?
That'd be 327.
Yeah, there's a lot of episodes. Making our way downtown.
We are making our way downtown.
We watched season 2 because we finished season 1 last week.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. The episodes this week were episodes 1, 2, 3, and 4. Pretty easy. We watched In My Time of Dying, Everyone Loves a Clown, Bloodlust, and Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
I agree with children shouldn't play with dead things.
I agree with all of these things,
true.
though.
I don't really agree with Bloodlust. That's not optimal. But
Okay, maybe not.
In My Time of Dying, that's sad. Not everyone loves a clown. Also this episode.
Yeah. So these episodes, we really get into this.
We get some good stuff. We dive head first.
Yeah, and I was really excited for season 2 because the end of season 1, we see the giant car crash and everything, and Dean is actually really hurt, which we find out in this episode. So from the last season, we're sitting here kind of like, what is happening to them? In My Time of Dying, we have Dean is really hurt to where a Reaper is coming after him to rape him because he's gonna die, and we get Big Daddy John Winchester. Sierra's favorite.
Yeah, my favorite. Mm-hmm. Love that guy. Mm-hmm.
Sells his soul to the yellow-eyed demon to bring Dean back to life. There's a little bit more to unpack to all this, but
Yeah, we're gonna unpack that.
But that's what happened in this episode. John dies, and it was sad.
Yeah,
It was
sad.
Very interested.
It was sad.
The picture I have of her is her just looking at her nails like, yeah, sure, it was sad.
Well, we'll get into it, but...
We'll get into it, but yeah, so that's what happened in My Time of Dying. Yeah, John dies.
Good riddance.
Really, the rest of these episodes, we do get a lot, but also, the episodes don't really have to do with anything, but we're getting so much else. Everyone Loves a Clown. Yeah, it's a filler episode. It's about a creepy serial killer clown that's terrifyingly killing everyone, and I don't even remember what the monster actually was, other than it was, some creepy serial killer clown.
It was the blind guy, but I don't remember what the hell the blind guy was.
They told us, but I don't remember.
You want to know why? Because it was overshadowed by the boys dealing with their father's
loss.
Or not dealing with it.
Yeah, the whole thing. That was the whole point. And also, really all we get from this episode is we meet the best characters.
We get to meet.
We meet Ellen, Joe, and Ash.
Oh, God, Ash. An icon.
I love that dude.
Give me 51 hours.
51 hours. Yeah.
What?
They're like,
what an icon. I've been waiting for you guys. Where you guys been? Oh, my God. I love him.
No, my favorite is just oh, yeah, we'll get Ash. He's a genius. And they're like, hey, Ash. He gets up from the pool table.
The guy on the pool table?
And he's like, yeah. Okay, also, I did make the comment to Sierra. I was like, mullets never were a good look. But I didn't realize how bad they were until I saw it on Ash. It was really bad.
I mean, he's obviously an eccentric genius, and he can do what he wants because he's a genius.
Yeah.
But, that ain't a good look, Ash.
No.
I love you. Terrible look. I'm sorry. It wasn't good in the 80s. It ain't good now.
No. And then in Bloodlust, we meet Gordon, our favorite vampire hunter.
Don't like Gordon.
Yeah.
I got mega beef with Gordon.
And then really in Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, we just get more brother drama.
Ooh, but the best kind of brother drama.
Good
drama. Brother drama.
And then for these episodes, we get the 5th and 6th blood cannons.
We sure do. So where's number 5, if you recall?
I got it. I do have it.
I got it. Bloodlust. Number 5.
Yeah, Bloodlust, and then the other one was
Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things.
Yeah.
Was number 6.
Yeah, one of those I didn't know if we counted as a blood cannon, but it definitely had blood.
We've been debating if we've miscounted. Let us know. But I say when they cut and then just show blood spatter, that counts as a blood cannon. Any sort of cut and then blood, I count that as a blood cannon.
I guess I was just thinking it didn't
so
count.
We're at least on 6.
If
not 7.
Oh, no, I don't think there was another one, I didn't think.
Remember when that guy I don't even remember which episode, was decapitated by that window?
Oh.
Because remember we argued about whether that was a blood cannon or not, and I was like, well, I mean, you just sliced and then boom, there it was.
Oh.
Yeah. Wish I could remember what episode that was, but I cannot.
It was,
I can see it, the stairwell. There's a guy.
Max. It's with Max. What
stupid.
episode? It wasn't Home. It wasn't Asylum. It wasn't Scarecrow. What did we watch?
No, it wasn't. It was Nightmare.
That was it.
Oh my God, you're naming them all. I'm like, nope.
I can see it in my head. We just watched all these.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can see them in the order that we had. But yes,
yeah, so in Nightmare. So that could have been another blood cannon. I thought it was, and you yelled at me because you were like, that's not the blood cannon. Because I don't think when Dean got shot in the head, that was really that much of a blood cannon. That's just blood spatter from, So, really, I think we're at least even on the blood cannons. But I think we did fault, because I didn't really feel that was a blood cannon as much.
Yeah, I didn't
There's
feel
just
the
blood
window was
splatter.
Yeah, I didn't
It
feel
wasn't
the
sack of entrails in a t-shirt launcher at a particular point, which is what I consider.
So we're
to
at
be a
5
blood
or 6,
cannon.
we'll say then. How about
I
that?
say 6.
6.
Because either way, there's at least one.
Another one,
At most 7, if you're counting the Dean thing.
Mm-hmm.
We got off track.
So those monsters.
Yeah, so how about the monsters?
The terrifying monsters. That terrifying clown. Everyone does not love a clown.
Yeah, to be fair, this clown was real scary. Like, I'm talking It level scary.
I don't know. No,
Him
no,
and
no, no,
Pennywise
no.
could really duke it out. I'm not sure.
He didn't smile, and I think that's what made it worse. That he was just super creepy, and he was just like waving at people, and
I don't know.
He was terrifying.
Is a frowning clown scarier than a smiling clown? I'm not really sure, because smiling can also be super just unnerving. But his makeup was just so scary.
Yeah, I didn't like him.
The outfit was bad.
And then I think it was just because he was always in the dark, and then like it would be like, "Mommy, Daddy, look at this clown."
He didn't say anything. That's creepy too.
Yeah.
I don't like
he
that.
would just sit there and like wave. I already said that, but
I
didn't
remember
like that.
Dean shot him with rock salt. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, oh, he's a thing. I'm like, but what is he? Obviously, he's not a
Didn't hurt
ghost.
him, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, well, what is he? I'm like, and I freaked out. I'm like, I don't know, but I don't want to find out.
I know. And but in regards to like talking about monsters that we still get and children shouldn't play with dead things, we had kind of a zombie. I think they labeled it as like a zombie, right?
I don't know. I don't really know what it was, but it was the reanimation of a corpse. So I call that a zombie.
Yeah, and I liked how they were just like, how do we kill this thing? There's so many different ways. Like,
yeah, they're like, well, I guess 3 of these stories say silver, so start there? Question mark.
And it didn't work. And then, although I did find it really interesting of how do you like kill the quote unquote zombie was that they had to stake her in the heart where she was buried or whatever, like back in her coffin.
Right, back in her own
I was
grave.
like, huh, interesting. I don't remember how in the world you guys do this, but I'm sure you make it out alive.
Yeah, you're like, you figure this out. I don't remember how, but y'all get it.
And I do like how they mentioned that like they were talking about, oh, maybe this is how like the stake through the heart with the vampires got its lore because, you know, you behead them and
in some dark recess in my brain, I know where that came from because I watched some YouTube or a documentary thing about vampires because Vlad the Impaler, you know, where you get the Dracula thing. Yeah. So I watched something about him. But yeah, they would stake, this is like old folklore. They would stake people in their graves and they're afraid they're going to come back to life and suck their blood or something like that. And it was probably because of a plague or something. But anyway, yeah, this zombie, that was fun. First zombie.
I think that's our only real zombie besides certain things that come
interesting.
forward.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Interesting. I'm thinking about all of the people who have died and then been not dead. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Dean, touches on that in this episode. Either way, this zombie was not a friend. Not a good zombie. And neither was the guy who brought her back like a dumbass.
Oh, yeah. Like,
children shouldn't play with dead things. Like,
yeah,
literally, this is, God, you idiot. And then, you know, of course, she kills her ex-boyfriend. And then, well, I mean, to be fair, that guy was the worst anyway, but you know.
Okay, side note. It took me so long to connect that she killed the boyfriend and he didn't commit suicide because I was sitting there like, well, who died? She was like, Sierra's like, the boyfriend. I'm like, wait, but he killed himself. And then she was like, yeah. And I was like, but she killed him. She's like, yeah. Like, I don't understand, but he killed himself. And she's like, what are you not grasping?
I literally was like, what are you not understanding about this? He killed himself. He did it.
Yeah,
she killed him.
I was like, it took me a whole...
Well, you also didn't know who the hell this Neil guy was. You're like, well, isn't that the brother? I'm like, the brother?
I was like, oh, wait, the brother died too, right? Like...
And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Oh, that's what got onto this, because I was like, who's Neil? The brother? And I was like, oh, no, the brother killed himself. And she's like, no, that was the boyfriend.
Yeah,
and I
you
was
got me confused. I'm like...
Wait, so who killed the... Wait, who did she kill?
I'm like,
and then
who's
you were like,
the brother?
the boyfriend. I was like... Wait, I'm confused
You're
now.
like, hold on a second. He didn't kill himself? No. She's a monster.
Oh.
She killed him.
It just did not connect in my brain for whatever reason.
That's why you shouldn't be knitting while you're watching these.
I wasn't too, which is funny.
Oh, that's the point you weren't knitting?
No, that's why I was so confused because I was like, I was paying attention.
Even when you're paying attention, you're like, now wait just a minute here.
Now hold the phone.
Now hold on. You said he killed himself, but now you're saying
so
he didn't.
Confused.
Also, who is this guy? I don't know who this is.
Thought process during the beginning, like 10 minutes of this episode.
Who are any of you people? I've seen these 2 boys before. I don't know the rest of you.
Yeah, I was like, who is this girl? Wait, she's dead. Like,
to be fair, I couldn't remember that dude's name. I'm like, what's that guy's name? And you're like, who? And I'm like, never mind. They'll say it again. They'll say it again later.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, though, in Bloodlust, these vampires, which we just learned existed, by the way. Just learned existed. That's
funny.
so funny to me.
It's
Still,
so funny.
funny.
What do you mean
Vampires are real. I thought they were extinct. Jesus, John Winchester. Listen, the man wasn't a dumbass, but honestly, good lord.
If you're new tuning in, we learned in one of the episodes, the other vampire episode that was in season 1, that John Winchester was like, I thought they were extinct.
Dead
and
man's blood.
Oh, yeah, duh. And then Sam and Dean were like, extinct? I didn't even know they were real.
I didn't know they were
real. We're like, what? What?
And I mean, if you've seen the rest of the show, you're like, that's bananas. What are you talking about? Like,
dude,
they've clearly been vampire hunters their whole lives.
I know. That's why I'm so confused. No, I have a lot of beef with that. Can I talk about my beef about this?
Talk about your beef.
Okay, so, like...
You got beef.
I liked when they were talking about with Gordon that they knew all this stuff about vampires and how to deal with them, and they were like, no, we can help you hunt, and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, you just learned they existed, like, 2 months ago.
He is an experienced vampire hunter. You just learned that they were real a week ago.
Yeah.
It was like a month ago. Like, they weren't separated from John, really.
Oh, yeah, because that's when
it
we
literally
got
was
the
like
cold.
a week. They,
it
like,
really
just
was,
learned about, I swear, this, like, 2 weeks ago that vampires are real. And now they're just like, yeah, you know, we hunt vamps. Yeah. Like,
well, yeah, I know.
No,
That's
you
why
don't,
I'm so
Dean.
confused. Like, in the whole time. And
one
then
time.
when Sam was like, no, we have to kill these things. Like, what are you talking about? And then, you know, when he's kidnapped by these things and he is like, what are you talking about? You guys are evil. And the monsters are like, no, we're not evil. We don't drink human blood. Like,
we're no worse than regular people who eat hamburgers, guy. Come on.
Yeah. And then Sam's like, what are you talking about? You're monsters and evil. And I'm like, bitch, please. You didn't know they existed until a week
And
ago.
she's like, oh, well, I'm going to let you go. How about that, honey? And he's like, interesting. Okay.
New development.
Kind of sus. Don't trust.
Yeah.
But okay.
And the other thing that I like noticed too was that when they first met Gordon, they were like, "Oh, Winchester. Oh yeah, I met John Winchester." And I was like, "Again, John."
I forgot.
You still they were extinct.
I mean, Gordon made his name. Gordon's been hunting vampires for like a decade. He's made his name hunting vampires, and you're telling me that at this point, until Dead Man's Blood, you had previously worked with Gordon, and you said vampires were extinct. What the hell were you hunting with this vampire hunter then? Excuse me, Kripke, explain yourself. Explain yourself, sir. Who wrote this episode? Explain yourself.
The thing is, I think he might have been like, I thought they were almost extinct. But, like, that's, like, pretty, like, hard accusation.
Yeah, John was just like, I thought they were extinct. Like, completely extinct.
Oh, my God.
They do say that their kind is, you know, endangered, which could lead to John saying almost extinct. But he doesn't say that. He said extinct.
Yeah,
like,
I
like
thought
dinosaurs.
That was so funny. And I was like, guys, you wrote this episode, like, so 4 weeks
So
ago.
pretty bold, you know.
Yeah. And why wouldn't you write that in, like, them just knowing vampires? That's pretty easy for them just to, like, know vampires.
That's basic, like, just regular Halloween monster. Like, your ghosts, your goblins, your ghouls, vampires.
In the one episode
werewolves.
with Mordecai and the hellhoundslayer.com people, they said something about, like, oh, what would Buffy do? And I was like, oh, Buffy's in this universe? And then...
you were trying to make the point of, like, Buffy was a TV show in this universe, or...
Well, no, it is a TV show in this universe.
Right.
Like, but I just think that's funny that Sam and Dean are probably like, hey, yeah, it's all fake.
Oh,
like,
you're right. I understand the point you were
and
trying to make.
And now all of a sudden they're like, wait, vampires are real?
God, I was not picking up what you were putting down when you were telling me this. I'm like, yeah, but Buffy's a show in their universe now because they said it. You're like, no, I know. And he's like, but they think it's fake. I'm like, yeah, because it's a TV show. And she's like, Never mind. Never mind. You're not understanding. We're moving on. Okay. I'm confused, but that's fine.
I was a little confused about this vamp episode because I always remembered Supernatural being like vampires were
always real.
Yeah.
I don't remember them being like the vampires weren't real. Like I just thought that was, ingrained in these boys. It's, ghosts, vampires, werewolves, your classic movie monsters.
Yeah.
Well, no Frankensteins though, but
The other thing that I thought was kind of sus when we had a long conversation about this is the lovely actor Ty Olsson is in this episode.
Boy, oh boy.
As a vampire named Eli, and he's one of the nice vampires. Here's the thing. The actor comes back in later seasons. Spoiler alert, as another vampire.
Is it another vampire?
Well, and that's why we were debating, like, wait, is he the same one? And then... I don't know. We had a long conversation of looking up, and I don't think it is, but, like, it's kind of sus that,
it is a little bit sus.
That
he comes back, like, 7 seasons later as the same... What are the odds? There are other people who are in season, like, 5, and they come back in 15, and they are not at all the same people.
Or even relate at all.
Yeah.
They're both vampires!
Yeah, they're completely different. But this guy here, he comes back as another vampire. Strange.
And I'm pretty sure, like, they both, like, owned a bar... And like,
I can't comment on any of this because I don't really remember his backstory.
I'm pretty sure he did own a bar, but like the girlfriends were different. Yeah, no, I know she was different, and that's why we're like, oh, maybe it's not them, but.
Yeah, but wasn't that before he became a vampire, and then he became a vampire, and then after he became? Oh,
I don't remember.
And then that was his, because I thought that was like his OG girl.
Oh, you might be right. Kind of sus. Ty Olsson.
Oh, more sus.
Kind of sus. Yeah.
Ty Olsson. Weigh in on this.
And then I felt really dumb because like we were sitting here like, are we dumb? Did we forget he came
And then
back?
I'm just like, there's no way. We've been on the internet for how many years now? We've been watching the show, and I mean, it would have been pointed out because everyone loves him when he comes back.
I know.
He's a fan fave a little bit. So,
he definitely is a fan fave.
Yeah, someone would have pointed this out and been like, this is the same dude, but for some reason they changed his name and made him kind of different, but the same. What is going on? Supernatural. But I've not seen that post. I've seen the post where like he was in season 2 and then he comes back. But like we say that about half the people that were on this show because they bring him back for some reason.
Mm-hmm. I said it was because all the good actors between seasons 1 through 5 that they had, they realized they were great actors, wanted to bring them back. But they were like, it was such small roles that they were like, might as well.
They're like, they'll never remember.
Yeah.
Wrong. I'm like, I know her from somewhere.
Well, also, we both are like, I know you from any actor or actress. I'm just like, I know you from somewhere. And it's usually it's Supernatural for me, Psych for me. And then for you, Sierra, it's Psych and House and Supernatural.
Yeah, it's Supernatural, Psych, or House. If I recognize an actor, funny enough, when I was with my grandmother today, she was watching NCIS Los Angeles, and I begged like 4 of these people. And I was like, you were in House, you were in House, you were in episode of Psych. You were in an episode of Psych. Like, I just look and I'm like, probably Psych. Like, it's one of those And it's funny because they also have people that are just in all 3 of those shows, and I'm just like, oh, wait, you were also in House. And Supernatural. What are the odds?
What a coincidence.
What are the odds?
Yeah, so Gordon, we hate him. We learn that we hate him because if you remember, and I forgot, Sierra was the one who told me.
Yeah, well, we already established that we don't. We're like, this guy's kind of sus. He's kind of sus. And then Sam calls Ellen, and she's like, abort mission. Do not work with this guy. And he's like, you literally just said he was a gun hunter. And he's like, yeah, by himself. You're gonna die.
Yeah.
Leave him.
And then you flip and find out.
Which is not good.
That, like, he was like, yeah, I hunted the thing that killed my sister. And then he was like, ha, 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 ha. They turned her into a vampire, and I killed my sister.
Well, no, he just says that, he killed the thing that killed his sister.
When he's talking about later.
The big reveal?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then he's like, they turned her, and then I killed my sister because she was evil.
Yeah. And then Dean's like,
bro, that's messed up.
It's kind of funny.
Oh, it's pertinent.
Because of what John tells Dean that we don't know that happened right before he died.
At this point, as viewers, we don't know what John has
but we know what he told
Dean.
him.
But we know what he
and
told
Dean's
him.
like, I don't
yeah,
like
and
this.
we're like, oh no.
All of these episodes were
This is really relevant. Oh my god. This is great to rewatch after watching the whole show. And you're just like,
those are my favorite, is like rewatching it after And the funny thing is I did rewatch these, but I didn't rewatch them like in order to the fact that like you were like, oh yeah, like
you didn't get the build again.
Yeah, because I kind of forgot what happened. It's like rewatching it all over again because I'm like, I don't remember what's going on, but like I do know the main plot points, but I just don't know the exact like things that happen.
Right, and I'm just like, I forget what, like, the brothers have arguments and discussions like every episode, so I always forget, which episode they have conversations. I'm like, oh, that's this. We're going to talk about this. Oh, okay. I could pull you a conversation, but I could not tell you what episode it's in. Best I could do was the season.
Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, it is really sad rewatching this and knowing that it hits different because you're rewatching this like, oh, Dean's going through a lot. And then it was Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, right? That we really see Dean also take this case to heart because, it really shows that what is dead should stay dead. And Dean, like, would love to bring John back, but he knows he can't because it wouldn't come back like his dad.
I have a slightly different interpretation. When he's, because of course he comes to that realization. But I also think it more applies to Mary than it does John, just because I don't really think John you're making your very big surprise face. I don't think I don't think Dean has really come to terms with John's death at the moment. Neither of the boys really have. Like, they know he's dead. They'll tell people he's dead. Well, I mean, they didn't even really say that when they were talking to Ellen. And they didn't really say that their dad was dead, but she just understood that John was no longer with them because she was like, oh, he didn't send you. And they're like, he didn't send us.
Kind of side note about that. Were, like, John and Ellen, like, a thing? She seemed very upset that, like, John died and that, like, she wasn't mentioned to the boys.
No, I don't agree with that at all because of what happened with Joe's dad.
No, I do think so, but I'm not saying that, like, I'm just saying it was, like, a fling or something. I'm not thinking they were, like, romantically involved, but, like, it definitely, maybe it was a fling. That Ellen was like, huh, this person who...
I didn't get that vibe.
Oh,
you can get that vibe. That's fine.
I was a little questioning because I was like, was this a thing? Is this
That's just because, like, Sam said that.
Did he? I think it's because of what Ellen said.
Are you dumb? Yeah, Sam was just like, do you think Ellen and Dad ever had, like, a fling? And Dean was... Maybe this was the point where you were knitting.
Probably.
Oh my God. Yeah, he says this.
Oh, no, I literally, like, was like, oh, Ellen seemed, like, really upset about his death. And
she just feels bad that these poor boys are freaking orphaned.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
sad.
they're both adults, but they're orphaned.
Yeah, but anyway. Let us know what you guys think. Did Ellen and John have a fling? Let us know.
Yes or no. Put up a poll.
Yes, no, or disgusting.
No, or cursed. No, but I think Dean hasn't really come to terms with John's death, so I don't think it's about John. It could be about Mary. They did visit her grave.
Yes, it probably did also have to do with Mary. What I thought you were going to say was about him. Because I
yeah,
totally forgot about that he came back.
But you decided to interrupt me to say this thing about Mary before I was done. So, yeah, I also do think it's about Dean. Because what's dead should stay dead, and he was technically kind of dead.
And he was going to make the decision to leave with the Reaper.
And he was supposed to, was he?
Yeah, he was going to make the decision to stay with the Reaper.
That's true. He doesn't want to become the thing that he hunts. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
He doesn't want to be the monster.
He doesn't want to...
Weird.
Yeah, that's super strange. Also interesting, because later on... Ooh... Delicious things coming up in this show. I think it was also about him. I mean, he's worried. He expresses this. He tells him, he's like, I mean, what about me? What about what happened to me? I shouldn't still be here.
Twice, too, because Dean was supposed to die that other time, too, and then he just had, like...
Yeah, this is big stuff. This is where he really starts being like, am I really worth all this? Which, of course, his self-worth is negative 100 and continues to be so.
Well, because that Reaper even said, like, they were like, it will go on without you. Like, the battle, like, your battle is over. Like, it is fine.
She's like, yeah, I've heard that before.
It goes on, and to be fair, I do believe her. I know it's not, like...
It's not really the case with Dean. No, but nobody knows that yet.
No.
So yeah, in her view, things will go on without him, and everything will work out the way that it's gonna work out. And he was about to. You're right. He was about to be like, take me to that other side, baby, because he doesn't want to become an angry, vengeful, mean old ghost and hurt people.
That he can't be with his family after they die, because they won't stay there.
Well, he doesn't know what comes after, so he doesn't know where he's going.
I did find that funny.
What's going on?
She was like, I don't know, and I'm like, I mean,
she was like, oh, can't ruin the big surprise. Sorry. Ooh.
To be fair, I think it's funny as an audience standpoint to be like, oh, what is there? Huh? Well, I guess I would assume because there is a hell that we know that demons go to hell. Can you assume that there's a heaven or some form of that?
No, not according to Dean.
No, yeah, I guess you're right.
Ooh, things are just terrible and awful and nothing good ever happens.
Sounds about right.
That's a couple seasons ahead. We're getting ahead of ourselves here. But yeah, this is about Dean, and Dean's like, I'm worried about the fact that I'm still here, and this is unnatural.
And then what John puts on his shoulders...
God, I hate him.
Bear that he has so much, because it really relates to what Gordon said, like we said, that it really relates to the whole bloodlust episode of, are all monsters monsters? Like, do we have to kill all of them? Is there a black and white and gray area?
The all evil versus some evil, the good vampires, the bad vampires, Gordon talking to Dean, and Gordon being like, yeah, we the same, buddy, and Dean's like, he pretends to vibe with what Gordon is saying here, but really Dean's like, I don't know, man, like I get it. Dean was brought up in the life, and this is all he really knows how to do, but is this what he was born to do? And he's just like, I don't really vibe with that philosophy at all, man. Like, he's pretending with Gordon because, it's someone he's connecting to besides Gordon. And as Sam says, he is a poor replacement for his dad, which I get. Gordon's a very well-respected hunter, very good at what he does. He's connecting to Dean about the life, but you can tell that Dean's like, I get it, but I don't really think we're the same, man. I don't know.
And again, after what John said, Gordon's like, like, it's black and white. There is no gray. And Dean's like, well, for those who know what John says to Dean and what he has to do.
What he might have to do.
And what he might have to do.
What John puts on him. And, oh, God damn it, I hate John Winchester for doing this. And I get it. He sold his soul and he went to hell for him. It's hard for me because, yes, that is a good thing to do to save your son because obviously, John, you ain't worth nothing. Dean is obviously better than you and he should live and you should die and go to hell, which knowing what we know about hell is saying a lot and that's putting a lot on John. I know, and maybe I shouldn't, but maybe he should have not been horrible and a terrible parent. But I will admit that he did kind of apologize to Dean being a trash dad and being like, you were the parent. And I am glad that he acknowledged that. John apologized to Dean and I'm glad for that. I still hate him, but I am glad that he did have the wherewithal and he's not just like 100% terrible and ignorant and blah, 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 the things I say about him. I understand. Still hate him.
Yeah, so I know you're talking about hating John, but while
always.
we talk about John, again, rewatching these episodes, it just brought John into a new light. So the first episode of season 2, right, like Dean is really hurt and Sam is angry because John appears to only be caring about this yellow-eyed demon. However, we know because he sells his soul, he's looking to save Dean. And so, like, when John gives Sam the ingredients for a quote-unquote protection spell from the demon, and then Sam finds out that it's not a protection spell and it's to summon a demon.
Full offense, John, this boy got a full right to Stanford, and you really think he's not going to understand that that's stuff to summon a demon instead of, like, ward from one? I cannot believe.
So I just kind of forgot about that, and it was really sad because Sam really just thinks that he wants vengeance. He wants vengeance. He doesn't give a fuck about Dean. Whoops. Even Dean, as the incorporeal ghost, he is like, oh, Dad, do you not care about me? Like, are you really only caring about this yellow-eyed demon? And John, he's very stoic and cold, and he isn't telling everyone the plan, but also, like, Sam wouldn't let him go through with it, obviously. Also, it was really sad because Sam then, after that giant fight between him and John, he was like, you go to hell, John. And I was like, Sam, no, too soon.
Did he say that?
Yes, dude. I was like, he was like, you go to hell. And I was like,
oh, too soon. Oops. Little do you know, Sam.
And I felt really bad because John's face was just like, yeah.
Ooh.
Because, like, he was hurt because, like, again, Sam doesn't know that John's going through with this. And so, because he's keeping it close to the chest. And John's just like, I deserve it, but yeah.
I mean, which, to be fair, at this point, there's not much he can do. So he should have just told Sam. His communication skills are negative a billion. He's terrible at this. Like, picking what to tell the boys. And he's like, I'll just not worry about it and tell them literally nothing.
To be fair, though, I think he thought, because remember we talked about Sam kind of being, like, a loose cannon a little bit. So
I don't want to get back in that discussion.
Well, no. I'm thinking that maybe John was just like, well, if I tell him.
Sam might do it instead, that thing.
Well, that, or like, Sam might just kill the yellow-eyed demon and be done with it. And then be like, we'll find a different way to save Dean.
Stupid, there's a billion demons.
But it's the yellow-eyed demon then.
They should have. They should have summoned him, snatched him or whatever. Done a devil's trap or something. Maybe that doesn't work on him. I don't know. Apparently the lore is different on yellow-eyed demons. Yeah. Oh my god. So get him in a devil's trap, shoot him in the head, summon a regular demon, crossroads demon, make a deal.
To be fair.
What are we going to be fair about?
No. Remember when Sam went into like that nursery when the demon was gonna kill the mom or whatever, and then he shot and then he like disappeared too? I kind of forgot about that, and I was like, oh, he can't do that maybe. And
but
so
if he's in a devil's trap, if they work on him,
apparently they don't know about devil's traps. Apparently that's Bobby's thing.
Well, apparently John doesn't because he drew some weird summoning thing, which is funny. I love how elaborate it is now. And then later in the season, they're just like, get a bowl.
Yeah.
The demon's here. A boy's here. Like, it's the same, like, summoning spell for everybody. But I'm just like, I mean, come on. If he'd been researching demons and stuff, he knows about devil's traps. I mean, there's no way he doesn't. And first of all, he absolutely would have contacted Bobby about this. He's known Bobby for a while. He just couldn't go back because Bobby was threatening to shoot him. But he could have picked up a freaking phone. Bobby's got a million of them. So, he could have done that. Get him in devil's. I think that's a flaw here. Get him in a devil's trap. Shoot him in the noggin. Like, come on. If the bullet's gonna work, this is the best opportunity to do it. You summon him, get him in the trap, shoot him in the noggin, leave. Find a regular demon, make a deal with that thing. There you go. Boom, boom, boom. You got 10 more years, and Dean lives. There we go. Tied up in a nice little bow. But no, they got to be all dramatic and extra about it.
Yes, I agree with you.
Sorry, I just really realized that they could have freaking done that to get rid of this demon, and I'm kind of mad. And I get storytelling and like you have to create obstacles for your characters, but like, oh my freaking god, you've been hunting this for 20 fucking years, and devil's traps exist, and you didn't try it. Well, to be fair, he needed the colt. But anyway, that's beside the point. Like, come on, that could have been your plan. Instead, you're just like, I'm just gonna go rogue, and then I'm just gonna find him, and then one day I'll shoot him in his noggin. And like, how is that gonna work for you, John? He's a demon, a fancier demon. And how he could sense you. Like, yeah, he's a supernatural being. You can't, sneak up on him just because you got Whitefoot marine feet? Like, no, that would not work.
Yes.
I'm sorry, he didn't think this through. I'm upset about it. And I'm just realizing all of this now. I'm sorry.
Anywho, the other thing that I wanted to keep in mind, because I read a post on this kind of recently, and this was big brain thinking here.
Galaxy brain thinking?
Well, you were like, whatever, I think, but that's right. It was the thing where Sam and John are fighting over Dean, because they're like, you want revenge, and whatever. He's like, la, 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 la. Yes. And then Dean's just like, enough fighting. And like, he hits the glass that was on John's like table side. And like, you know, as the audience, we're like, oh, Dean can do this. And Dean's like, oh, I can do this and everything. And then John and Sam are like, huh, that was weird. And at the time, I think when we watched this, I think they were like, huh, that was weird. But someone made a post saying that for John's perspective, he thought it was Sam because he had learned he was having visions. And Sam also asked John if he knew anything about the psychic children that the Yellow Eye Demon had in store for him. And John was like, no, I don't know anything. That is a lie, though. We know that John knows.
I'm John. I won't tell my children literally anything, even though
he knows something.
Oh, he doesn't know he's going to die yet. But whatever.
He knows something. And I think we know that.
He
knows. Not spoiler alert. We know that he knows something.
He knows something.
And it's never explained, and I always thought that was really interesting that they never actually tell us what did John know. There's always like speculations, and I always thought John was very close to knowing the truth.
He really could have just written a letter.
He should have.
Yeah. Again, his communication skills are garbage.
Yeah.
Write Dean a letter. Maybe write, I don't know, Sam a letter. Write Dean a letter and then be like, give Sam this letter if you see these signs start happening. And give him that letter. You boys read it together and then you all figure out what you're going to do. But no, because but John might see more. Hold on. But then John might see more in black and white. So then he's like, if you see this happen to your brother, you got to talk to him.
I think they'd open it regardless. I don't think
you're
they'd
right.
wait. Yeah.
These boys don't listen to nothing and nobody.
They should have just wrote a letter, just been like, you can open it after I die, and then he can say whatever he wants.
Hey boys, open this when I die in a very short amount of time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But so someone said that post about that John thought it was Sam that did it. I don't remember if they thought that Sam also thought that he did it because he was getting so heated about it.
And that's the last time he was able to use his little telekinetic powers.
Yeah,
sure.
was that. Yeah, it got me really thinking that. Yeah, maybe that was the nail in the coffin for John telling Dean, like, you might need to do this. Because it's getting too powerful.
I feel like he would have told Dean anyway. He sucks though, because he gives him that nice little speech of apologizing and, you know, like, oh, I was a bad dad and you took care of me, you took care of Sammy, blah, blah, blah. And then he's just like, oh, and by the way, and drops this on his freaking shoulders.
Oh my god, no. You know what I just realized too?
No.
Did Yellow Eyes know, like, the grand plan? He knows the grand plan. What happens in, like, season 5. So my thought is, does John know?
He's in on the grand plan?
Yes,
he's the
reason why. Because he's, like, the foot soldier.
Oh, yeah, because he had to start it.
Yeah, he had to start it.
I'm leaning back in my chair now. Hold on.
This is huge. Because I bet, oh my god. You know what I bet? Actually, John might know a lot more. And so when he told Dean, I wonder if he's talking about, like, later down in season 5. When it becomes...
No, I don't think so. Because I remember Dean says, like, later, and he was like, this is what Dad told me. He tells Sam what Dad told him. And I do think
word for word?
And I do think he tells him the truth. Word for word, pretty much.
Because I thought... Oh, I don't know.
He gives him like kind of like the clip notes, but I'm pretty sure that he tells him what John said to him. And I don't think... Because
I'd always assumed it was like the stuff in like season 3 and season 4 and the path that Sam starts going down.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that was just season 2, but I don't know if he saw as far down the road.
Because Yellow Eyes possessed him, and I'm pretty sure he knew he got a lot of
Yellow Eyes possessed him, but I don't... Can you really get, as a vessel, information from... You just get the visuals and...
I don't know. Demon lore. I don't know.
I don't think so, honestly. I don't think you get the demon's information. The demon can get information out of you, but I don't think you can get information out of the demon.
Well, I'm just saying that maybe John was powerful. I don't know. Yeah, that's really interesting, because I always thought that, like... We'll see.
It is interesting to see...
Like I said,
how much we thought John knew.
Someone out there probably has, like, what John actually knew and has this all written out. If you find this... Please let us know. I would like to read it.
The internet there's so much supernatural meta to sift through. I mean,
well, sometimes it's like not right. I'm like,
I mean, of course, all of this really is mostly up for interpretation. Yeah. But there's also stuff that we can be like, yeah, we can kind of come to a consensus on this.
Yeah.
He probably just feels bad that the last thing he ever told his dad was like, go to hell, and then he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, the last thing I ever did with Dad was pick a fight. Which, like, to be fair, you did fight with him for like 23 years of your life. So I mean. So back to when John was being a bad parent.
Which time?
I know. He was just, when he was sitting by Dean's bedside and, you know, like you said, stoic, not saying anything. And Dean's just like, dude, are you actually kidding me? you're not going to say anything. You're not going to do anything to try and save me. You're just going to sit there and let me die. I've done everything you've ever asked me, and you're just going to sit there and you're going to let me die, which, valid. I agree, and valid. And it was also interesting because there's that dynamic with Dean and John, but then the opposite dynamic with Sam. He's just like, I'm not giving up on you, Dean. We're going to get through this. I'm going to figure out a way to get you back. And I think that meant a lot to Dean because he heard him say that, and John didn't seem to be willing to do that.
Yeah, and John's supposed to be like his saving grace.
Yeah,
and
his dad, his
yeah,
parent.
Yeah.
That's, again, another thing that shows the strength of their bond and that they're willing to do anything for each other. They're willing to make deals for each other.
Which I found funny because then the whole like what's dead should stay dead, and I was like, LOL, not for the boys.
Oh well, that doesn't apply to Winchesters and Co.
Well, because that's what episode was it before that he was like, you can't die, you can't sacrifice yourself, Sam. It's just not happening.
Right.
I'd rather just do something, and I'm like, oh my, make up your mind.
Yeah. Well, they make up their minds, and then they unmake up their minds.
Yeah.
That's bad, and then they all just do it anyway because they're useless.
They're a bunch of hypocrites.
I mean, listen, it's skewed when it comes to... I know.
It's just kind of funny. Like,
but it is absolutely hilarious.
Like, in the term of the whole sense of being a hypocrite.
Y'all are trying to do this again? Y'all are... But you're gonna... Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. Go ahead and do that. Or what they like to call it, doing something stupid. Generally is.
Pulling a Winchester.
Generally, what that means is just them trying to sacrifice for the other. So it is interesting where they're just like, I'll make a deal, I'll figure that out. I'm like, oh, Sam, we don't make deals with nobody. Dark slippery slope, my friend. Don't be making deals with nobody. So it's never anything good. We learn you don't really make deals. It never ends well.
Nope.
Speaking of trying to make deals and trying to connect to other supernatural entities, brings out that talking board, the Ouija board. When he's trying to talk to Dean. And I thought it was odd that Sam didn't verify that it was Dean that he was talking to. We could all see as the viewers that obviously it's Dean that he's talking to. But Sam, you're a hunter.
They don't do that early about things.
They become more careful as time goes on. Yeah. But I mean, what a rookie mistake.
I know.
I mean, he grew up in this life. Sam, are you kidding me? But also, I mean, his judgment was clouded because, he's emotionally upset about Dean. I mean, of course that makes sense. But I'm just like, wow, pathetic, Sam. You're smarter than this. You went to Stanford, full ride, and you're talking to, you can't even see what with a Ouija board? Stupid.
Also, there was a side note. They brought up the whole thing that if I can touch it, I can kill it.
Right.
I really like that. But go on. What you're saying.
Sam also, I believe Sam tells the unconscious Dean, because Sam's really upset. He's like, we're just starting to be brothers again. And I'm just like, don't say that to me.
No.
That's really upsetting. And I was like, don't be like this.
He's losing more people. Like, he just lost Jess. And then he was like, and if you think about it, I don't know how long him and Jess were together. They were
year and a
really
half.
long. Oh my God, I forgot. They were going to get engaged. Yeah. And then Yellow Eyes killed her. Like, yeah, this is becoming problematic. But yeah, so I think he's just like, it's this new thing. And, and now they're restarting Sam and Dean's bond. And he's just like, we're getting back to our relationship like that we were. And then you're going to die too because of Yellow Eyes. Like, indirectly, but yeah.
It's a good thing they didn't kill Dean because I don't know what Sam would have done.
Sam would have Sam would have turned into John. I think Sam would have turned into John.
Sam and John would have bonded pretty good.
Because John said the whole thing that, like, they have the most in common.
I mean, they do.
Yeah, I think Sam would have turned into John. I don't think he would have worked with John, but I think he would have acted like John. He probably wouldn't have been as mad all the time, but, like, he would have been as obsessed. He would have maybe, like, cut ties and just been a loner and just didn't trust anyone. And
I'm kind of thinking of in later seasons, maybe 4 or so, he might be acting like John. And I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Oh boy, the cause. Oh boy. Oh boy. Big. Oof. It's all coming together, y'all. All coming together. Damn, the show is so good. I wonder if you remember the conversation that Sam and Bobby had about the car, air quotes, the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Sam's like, nope. And Bobby's like, this is barely scrap, son. Like, you need to get rid of this car. Like, there's nothing I can do with this. Like, and Sam's like, no getting rid of the car.
If one part works.
And Bobby's like,
not giving up.
It's because they end up not talking about the car. They're talking about Dean. That's right. And not giving up on Dean. And Bobby's like, I understand. I'll keep the car. Waiting for your brother so he can come fix it. And he does. And he breaks it a little bit, but he fixes it again.
Well, yeah, because him and Sam got in that fight over... Oh, because Sam said he felt guilty because his last conversation to John was, go to hell.
Right.
And, I still can't get over that. And, I mean, Dean also feels guilty because he's the reason why his dad's dead.
Yeah, that hits him
the whole
hard.
thing, because, like, he's always like...
God, that's another thing.
He just always feels responsible for everything.
His shoulder's damn heavy already in this.
I know.
First 2 seasons. Oh my God.
And then he destroys Baby, which was like John's like, love to him being like, here, I'm gifting you this car that like
Don't talk to me about that when John was just like, really keeping her dirty, huh? So I didn't give you the car so you can ruin her. Jackass. So, no, he's upset and he beats the hell out of that trunk with that crowbar. Really good. Also, some very great acting from our king, Jensen Ackles.
Both of them.
I mean,
fantastic.
I mean, the boys are just the acting in the show. Listen, say whatever you want about this show. The acting is great and it's very consistent over 15 years, which is impressive.
To be fair, no, I know. When you said Jensen, you were like, "Oh my God, Jensen's like really good. He's killing it." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." Like I was thinking the same thing.
Oh my God, he's got that throat thing going on. He does the little.
He's just so sad.
The little lip quiver.
I know. It just makes me so sad. Because Sam, like, if Sam's upset, you're like, "Oh, Sammy, you're upset."
Don't talk to me about Sam being upset.
But, like, when Strongman Dean is, like, upset, you're like, "Baby, no!"
Oh, and then the single man tear, you're just clinches it, and you're like, he is king of single man tears. He really is. But they are effective. It's stupid, but, like, it's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And the one, you're like, oh, no, Dean, it's okay.
I know.
I mean, half of what he is upset about, he does to himself. Not that these things are his fault, but he thinks that they're his fault.
Well, yeah.
And I mean, it's not his fault that John sold his soul, but here Dean is thinking it's his fault, which is a thing that continues forever. That's just part of who Dean is as a person. Why do we think he goes to bars so much?
Why do you think he's an alcoholic? I don't know.
Oh, yeah. They went to Mary's grave. They go to Mary's grave.
Yeah.
And then he and Sam had that little fight. And he's like, I'm going to go have a drink alone. And he goes by himself to a bar. And I'm like, this is sad. It's tough for him to deal with this kind of stuff. You know, he's doing his best. But it's really hard for him. He wants to be drunk alone. That's no good. Because Dean's really going through it.
Oh my God, side note about them going to Mary's grave, though. I literally could have bursted out in tears for whatever reason. I know you don't like John, but, like, Sam buried John's dog tags. I forgot. Sam takes John's dog tags and buries it, like, with Mary's, like, grave or headstone, I should say.
Headstone.
And I was like, oh no, they're going to be together. And Sam was like, you guys get to be together. And I was like, you guys get to be together. It's really sad because they were never actually going to be buried together. They probably never thought, and so it was just really sad that like I was like, like it was sad because I was upset for Sam because Sam was upset.
I know. I don't like. Listen, when Jared gets them tears going, it's over for me.
Yeah,
there's nothing I can do.
Ready for the season finale of 2.
Oh, I'm not ready for the season finale of 2.
Oh gosh, strap in.
Not ready for the season finale of 2. Not ready for the season finale of 3.
Oh, no.
Not ready for season finale of 4.
4 wasn't as bad, though. 4 was actually pretty good.
I mean, well, it wasn't good, but
well,
I mean...
No. It was like, it wasn't sad. It was like, oh. Like,
oh, yeah, they're just like...
We didn't go, like, 4 steps back. We went 1 step forward, maybe.
Well, the Winchesters take, like, 900 steps back.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, well, yeah. If you're wondering, nothing really works out for these boys.
No.
There's always a problem for them. It's always something. I mean, that's what makes a story interesting. But you're just like, can't these poor little boys just get one break? Just one. A single break. They don't get a single break ever. Not one. They think they get a lot of, oh, we get a break? And then it turns out, no. Here's another problem for you on top of all of your other problems. And you're like, oh, great. Thanks. That's why they never trust anything good. They're like, something's going to happen. But bringing it back to this season and the boys being upset about things. Another thing to weigh on Dean's shoulders here is his guilt about maybe when he's hunted with John, they've made the mistake of killing things that didn't deserve killing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where he's starting to fight with that area of gray, which is now it's starting to grow. It's pretty small, but it's getting bigger.
It is getting bigger.
With that vampire, he's like, ooh, uh-oh. And so he's worried about him and John having killed things that didn't really deserve it.
Because they were shoot first, ask questions later.
Shoot first, ask questions later. Mm-hmm.
And even Sam was like that. And that just goes to show that Sam was doing that with the vampires. But I think he also was like, oh, shoot. Like, we shouldn't have been doing this.
Right. Shouldn't have been so gung-ho and trying to kill these.
To be fair, I think they thought that these vampires were killing people and they were only killing cattle.
They did. They did.
And then they were like, oh, wait,
because they took Gordon's word.
Yeah.
Who's a jackass. But they now know. Which is good that they know this. Mm-hmm. They learned early that Ellen was right.
Ellen is always right.
Always listen to Ellen is really the takeaway from this episode. Mm-hmm. You're going to take one thing away from this episode.
Ellen is right.
Ellen is right. Also, Ash is awesome. Mm-hmm. The two things. Also, when Dean was talking to Neil about his girl, well, I guess it wasn't his girlfriend, the girl he brought back, he was saying, oh, okay, well, I mean, you know.
Who was saying? Neil?
Neil.
Neil was saying? Okay.
Neil. This was the one who didn't commit suicide.
Okay.
This one didn't commit suicide.
Okay.
Neil was saying he saw her or whatever, and Dean's like, seeing people you loved after they died. He basically said that was normal. He's like,
no, he did not.
He's like, seeing people you love after they died. You think you see them, grief is taking you over, and it's.
Oh no, he probably did do that. He probably did that with like Mary and everything. Oh my lord! No, this does make sense too because Sam also was seeing Jess. Remember?
Yes.
We as the audience.
How Sam was seeing Jess. This turned into galaxy brain. This was just big brain thinking for me, and now this is galaxy brain thinking. Yeah. Thank you. This also becomes relevant later. We won't explain why.
We won't explain why, but
I will not elaborate. But yeah, interesting. Dean said that because Sam did see Jessica after she had died, and he loved her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Interesting.
90-degree neck turn.
Interesting,
Dean. I'd love
You're
to
seeing
hear.
the ones that you loved after they've died because your brain doesn't know how to process it.
I would love to have a conversation about this, Dean.
That's a conversation for season 8, though.
Oh yeah, galaxy brain. Okay. Oh yeah. Ooh, season great. They all look great in that season. The lighting was so good.
Well, do you have any more thoughts?
Like 4 big brain, galaxy brain thoughts aren't enough for you. I got no more. That was my limit for today.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Thank you everyone for listening. Be sure to check out all the rest of our episodes where we're going to be discussing how many episodes, Sierra?
327.
Of Supernatural. Giving out quality reviews, getting some more big brain thinking ideas.
Digging deep into the lore, the
psyche of the boys.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah, and we'll see where we go from this.
You don't want to miss it.
Yeah, we don't. We are your Hunter hosts. I am Graham.
I'm Sierra.
And we'll see you next time when we look back in our rearview mirror. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Yeah, let's do this.